And welcome to Crash Media Paranormal. And tonight we're going to be talking about our latest episode, which is Old State Bank in Decatur. Ashley, can you tell me a little bit about Old State Bank?
So recently, we investigated a location in Decatur, Alabama, and it is called the Old State Bank. We investigated a few weeks ago, and it is featured in our episode 3, the Old State Bank. So if anyone has not watched that episode yet, be sure to go back and watch it. It's the most recent episode that we just posted. Um, a little bit about the history of the location. So the bank was built in 1833. It was built as a bank. It eventually closed in 1842. It has been a family home. It has been during the Civil War. It became it was kind of taken over by the Union,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was used as a hospital, and it was they held Confederate prisoners upstairs. So it's been, like a prison almost. It's been a hospital for the Civil War. Um, Eventually, after the war, a doctor purchased it and he conducted medical practices there. It eventually became a
I think your
saloon,
computer's
both
quicker than
legal
mine on my
and
phone.
illegal.
What? My phone's
And
going
it's
faster
now a
than your
museum.
computer. Yeah.
And
Probably, yeah.
one thing that's really interesting to me, even though the building itself has so much history, so it's this place is said to be a hotspot for paranormal activity, and with as much history as it's had, that makes sense why it would be a hotspot. But also, there's a lot of things in the building that were donated. That were not
Might have to
original
watch
to
it on my
the building.
phone. So you
So you
two,
never know if things that other
you're
antiques and stuff
way
like from
behind.
that same time period that have been brought in,
I'm talking
what
40
all could
seconds a
be
minute.
there. There's claims of a spirit, such as they refer to her as like the lady in blue. There's also one they refer to as the lady in black, and they don't like the lady in blue. There's certain spirits that people see that you don't necessarily know what connection they have to the place, but with all of the antiques and things there it could be anything. And so that's one thing we would love to do as investigators, to even go back and see if we can dig deeper and find out who all is there. But anyway, so um yeah, we had a great time investigating there. I mean, a lot happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was I was actually surprised, even though we had experiences there, I was surprised at how much like things we actually caught on our recordings.
Right. Because you would think it's an old bank, what could possibly be paranormal about an old bank? And but when you really delve into the history of the location, it's actually one of the coolest places I've been. Especially inside the vault and just the way the entire thing is set up. You can see an imprint in the floor where the desk used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Where they would come withdraw or get things out of the vault. But it's a small
Yeah.
location, but it's a very cool location. And
Yeah.
like you said, I was just shocked at some of the activity that we got. Everything from whistling to, which we'll talk about that here in a moment. But yeah, I'm with you. It's a crazy place that you wouldn't expect to be haunted.
Yeah. And another thing that was really neat here. Okay, so when we first got there, Suzanne Langdon, who
Hmm.
gave us the tour of the place and everything, she mentioned to us that certain devices such as EMF meters and mel meters, things like that, we
Hmm.
show all of that in the episode. But those meters, they detect electromagnetic frequencies, and
Right.
that's what we use to, communicate. We use it to detect certain like energies and things like that. But at this location, we were getting like just off the charts, like constant interference. Like we were getting these like a steady. We always do like a baseline sweep. So we take the devices around and try to get like a baseline like 0 to see like what areas will interfere with our devices and things like that. Well, this whole property was giving us like off the charts like EMF detections.
Hmm.
And so we were trying to figure out why that was. So Heather and I, we went around, we found this tower, this radio tower. We thought maybe because it was like right down the street, we thought that was causing the interference. But then Suzanne told us that that tower is not a working tower. It's a dead tower. There was no frequencies coming from that. So we could not find the source of these high EMFs. And I'm not saying that the high EMFs were paranormal. However, in theory, these high EMFs could be feeding the paranormal activity, which
Right.
is another reason why it could explain why this is such a hot spot for paranormal activity. So one, you've got so much history with it, and two, you've got all of this these high EMFs, things that could be feeding into that paranormal activity.
Right, exactly. And because I was a little late getting there because I had some issues on the freeway getting there, and by the time I got there, y'all were picking up a ton of EMF like everywhere,
Hmm.
absolutely
Yeah.
everywhere. And so I walked into that going, okay, that's crazy.
Hmm. Um, but let's see. Oh, and another thing that, like I mentioned, those two reasons why the paranormal activity could be so strong there. But another thing is, I mentioned like all of the stuff that gets donated there. So a lot of the belongings in the museum, like some of them are original to the building, some of them are not. Some of them were donated from around like the same time period and stuff, and from the area. But with all of the antiques and stuff brought in, you don't know what could be brought in there. So,
Right.
it at first, um, I didn't we didn't start actually having some experiences until a little bit later that night.
Hmm.
So I was thinking, it might be going a little bit slow, but then things started happening. But also, we walked away with so much evidence.
We really did. Like
Hmm.
it was like I said, I was shocked. I was absolutely
Yeah.
shocked with some of the things. And of course, this is a full episode that's up on YouTube, so all of our guests can go and watch the episode and see some of the evidence. We do have some of the evidence with us tonight for our podcast, but the
Hmm.
full episode is up on YouTube, so please go and watch it. We had a
Yeah.
fun night. It was definitely a fun night.
Yeah. And another thing that was really fun is we got to sleep there overnight. A
Yeah.
lot of times, there's places that you can't sleep at a location overnight, but when you are able to like sleep over at a location, it's like even in your sleep you get to continue like
Hmm.
investigating. So it's like you things sometimes wake you up during the night, or
Oh
you'll
yeah.
hear something. And so one thing that was really cool, and we'll talk more about the whistle here in just a bit,
Hmm.
but the next morning when we woke up, actually, right first it happened right when we were going to bed. So everybody had gotten their cots and everybody was going to bed. Well, I got up to go to the bathroom. When I went to the bathroom down the hall, kind of away from everyone, I was in the bathroom and I heard a man whistling like a full song. It was just, I mean, it wasn't even like a faint whisper in the distance. No, it was a full whistle,
Right.
a whole song. And I thought it was one of you guys out there waiting on me, like, Ashley, hurry up. I opened the door, no one was there.
Wow.
And I didn't have a recorder with me, though. I didn't have anything. So I was just going to the bathroom to like brush
Hmm.
my teeth. And I go out there, and some of you other guys heard it, but each person like thought it was each other, but
Uh
it
huh.
was none of us. And
I
then
remember.
the next morning, when everybody had already turned off all of our recorders, everybody was getting in the car to leave. Heather and I were the only ones left in there, grabbing the last little bit of our stuff. And here comes the whistle again from down the hall. And so, unfortunately, we didn't get that on camera, but it was so distinct. And that was really cool. So, it's good when you get to stay kind of like overnight,
Right.
at a location like that. But because you get to experience even more.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Let's talk about some of the claims that are in the building. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the claims in Old State Bank?
Okay, so one of the claims is the lady in blue, who I believe is like upstairs. People will see her in the windows, and Suzanne was telling us that people, like even across the street, um, that know her real well would say something about her being in the building like that night, or and she'll be like, no, no one was there last night. And so a lot of people will see this woman in blue.
Yeah.
um downstairs, there's a claim of seeing a woman in black and almost like she's grieving. They also call her, I believe, like the crying woman, or some people will hear a woman grieving. And Suzanne explained to us this particular woman, um, the kind of like documented stuff of her story is she didn't necessarily have anything to do with the bank, but she received news that both of her sons had died. One had died in the war, and while she was at the bank, she heard someone told her about her other son had
Yeah.
died. And so you think about someone who goes through extreme tragedy, and in that moment, finding out that both of your sons were dead.
Right.
And so people still see her and hear her there. And one of the claims is that people will see her in the mirror. So there's a very large, beautiful mirror in
Right.
that main room. Like
Yeah.
I immediately was like
Huge.
drawn to that mirror. And Suzanne said when people come in, everyone is drawn to that mirror.
Hmm.
Um, and When people will get photos, take selfies and stuff in that mirror, they'll an image of the woman in black will appear. So we didn't see the she didn't appear for us.
Right.
However, part of our job is to investigate,
Right.
and so most of the time we've talked about pareidolia
Hmm.
before, and most of the time when you get images of things in the mirror and things like that, it's a case of pareidolia
Right.
where smudges or anything can actually look like a face when it's not. And so there's a whole little segment in our episode where we kind of show we're easily can create what looks like a face in there just by
Right.
standing at a certain angle, the certain light, and the smudges on the mirror look just
Hmm.
like a face. So I can't speak for anyone else's um, evidence that they've gotten with her appearing in the mirror. Like
Hmm.
we can only speak for our own findings, and so I feel like maybe at least in our experience that claim would be pareidolia.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not discrediting anyone who I haven't seen any other photos that people have taken, and I
Hmm.
think it would be awesome if someone got the lady in black in um, a photo in front of the
Right.
mirror. I just haven't seen one. And so that's definitely something that if we get to go back one day, and I hope we do, I'm going to try again. I want her to appear
Oh
for
yeah.
me.
Exactly.
But so
Exactly.
far, I feel like that could be one claim that could be debunked.
Right.
Um, and but there's no doubt about it. There's spirits there at
Oh
this
yeah.
place.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Just some of the things that we got there. Now there are some other unique disadvantages, or I don't want to say disadvantages, more like obstacles when you're investigating at this particular location, and that is the traffic. The
yeah,
traffic is non-stop, and it's right beside a
and
freeway.
loud.
And so, as you know, but we've done that before. Sloss Furnace in Birmingham, is a constant flow of traffic around there. So we've been in locations where we've had a lot of traffic issues before, and that just means we have to modify what we do. So
Hmm.
we always take into account, is that a truck? Is that a car? Is that vibrations from a truck? Is that vibrations from a car? And that does present its own unique sets of I don't know, of difficulty, of
It does,
hardships.
yes, and it puts a lot of contamination in
Hmm.
on like our recorders.
Hmm.
Um, but there were times during the night that we would hear disembodied voices that were pretty evident to us.
Oh yeah.
Now, on the recorders, when you do have a lot of traffic and stuff and you listen back on the recorders, it is hard to detect EVPs.
Hmm.
But we heard things in person that night. And so that's what was really great is that, even if it's difficult to get an EVP, we actually heard disembodied voices.
Right.
So that was cool. But another thing was featured in the episode, we had a geophone, which is a device that detects vibration, kind of like, I mean, you've probably heard of like a geophone used in
Right.
like to detect like earthquakes and things like that. So this geophone detects vibration, which you have to be walking right up next to it in order for it to pick up those vibrations. We had it on the staircase. At one point, it starts going off, detecting vibration on the stairs, and this
Right.
was early on in the night. Um, and so we thought, could it be the traffic? But we tested it out. The traffic going up and down the road was constant. The geophone was not picking it up.
Right. You had
We
to
had to,
physically, yeah, get on the stairs and like stomp for it to pick up, for it to vibrate.
yeah, and
So
it would
the
only vibrate when we were walking like right next to it.
right, and we looked at it when some really large trucks were coming, when
Mhm.
cars with trailers were coming, and nothing. So we
Yeah.
felt pretty secure in saying that that's evidence, you know?
hmm And also, afterwards, Jonathan did an EVP session
Hmm.
on the stairs and hoped to also experience the footsteps as they happen again. He did get an EVP on the stairs. And you can tell like it's not the trucks going. You can hear through the whole recording that I listened to, you can hear the trucks and everything going up and down the road.
Right,
And you can tell this was different. It was like something talking right into the recorder.
right.
And I synced it up to the video. And he wasn't moving, so it's not him brushing against his clothes or something like it.
Hmm.
He was completely still, and it sounds just like a whisper right into the mic. So he had the footsteps there. Apparently, the geophone was going off, and then an EVP in the same spot. So I
Right.
feel like that is, pretty cool.
And of course, that is on our episode. We're not going to spoil it here. Go back and watch the episode, and you can definitely see that interaction. It was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about the vault. The vault.
The vault is actually pretty
It
cool.
was awesome. It was like a tomb. It
Yeah.
literally is shaped like a tomb. Everything. It was a tomb.
So one thing, the vault actually acts as a Faraday cage, like a
Yes.
shield from those EMFs. So when I was talking earlier about having like the millimeter and the K2 not working in the rest of the building, when you go into an area like the vault, and a Faraday cage is what kind of it's a shield
Hmm.
that will shield from those things, and we don't get interference in there. So we could actually use the K2 and the millimeter and even the spirit box, things like that in there, and not have to worry about interference. So the vault was built, the bottom of it is concrete, and the rest of the vault is built in limestone.
Right.
One thing that's really cool about limestone, it was really thick. I can't remember how thick they said it was, but a few feet thick on the whole thing. But limestone is said to be a conductor of paranormal activity.
Hmm. That's
They've
true.
talked about, yeah, that's a theory that has people have talked about for a long time, and it's a common occurrence of having a lot of activity around things like limestone. Um, so they said that there's a man,
Hmm.
a male spirit in the vault that is almost like an angry spirit, said to not like women. And Suzanne herself said that she doesn't like going near the vault. Um, and One thing that was really neat in the vault, um, excuse me, at one point when it was just Heather and I in there, we both started at the same time getting a very nauseated feeling,
Oh yeah.
and it's when we started directing a few questions towards the male spirit. But then when we stopped talking to him and started talking like to, trying to reach out to other spirits, that feeling kind of lifted. Um, but one thing that's really cool is, and we'll get to this in just a bit when we have the our guest on, but we captured an EVP in there of a child's voice. So I know we'll play that in just a minute, but we had a child's voice.
Hmm.
um, and one thing that's cool about the guests that we're going to have on, they had investigated there before us, and we didn't even know about their evidence at the time, but they also captured a child's voice.
Right.
And so the great thing about building unity in the paranormal community, and being able to get to know and talk to other groups, you can compare things like that. And to me, it's really significant the fact that we got a child's voice, another group got a child's voice, all in the vault.
Right.
And so when two different groups get the same kind of evidence, that's really something to me. That's really cool.
Well, before we show these two clips of the child's voice that we both got, I had a couple of interesting things that happened in the vault because I went in there by myself and I did a live on YouTube while I was in the vault. And I had a couple of interesting things that happened. One of them, which I'll show you right now. Let's see.
Let me know you're here. Another knock. Come on, do it again.
So that was that was a very significant bump. That was definitely not a truck. That was not a car. That was something in the room with me. And it is not another investigator because you could pound on those walls. You're going to hear a little something, but it's not going to be that loud. And I was in there by myself.
Yeah,
Now,
and as thick as those walls are,
mhm,
you that the vault, the way it's designed, it blocks so much out. And if you hear a bump or a knock or anything like that in there, it's distinct. It sounds different than maybe something coming from down the hall or whatever. Um, but also the fact that you had just said, "Can you knock on something to let me know
right.
you're here?" And I don't know if you noticed it, but there's a knock right after you said that, and you don't hear it right away, but then you hear the second knock. So there's actually two knocks.
Oh,
It's like it
wow.
knocked, and then you didn't respond, and then it knocks louder, and then you heard it. And so
I'll have to
it's like
watch it
it
again.
responded. Yeah, it's like it responded.
Now, another interesting thing that happened, and I'm just going to let the video speak for itself on this one. All right.
Something was like tickling the back of my head.
There's something, it felt like something, you know, that spider web feeling in your hair. Are you messing with Heather?
So basically, something was tickling my hair, something was tickling Heather's hair in a completely different session. So,
Yeah, and you were in there by yourself during
right.
that time.
Hmm.
There was one point where we were all three in there, but we had no idea what you experienced when you were by yourself. And then when it was just Heather and I in there, you had left. Heather started feeling the tickle on her. We had Heather and I had no idea that you had been experiencing that.
Right.
And Heather actually experienced it a couple of times, and then I just put the one clip in there, but she felt like someone was messing with her hair. And so when I was watching, and you didn't even tell us about that a
No,
little bit
no.
later. I didn't know that until I was watching the live back to
Hmm.
put in our episode, and I was like,
Wait.
wait a minute, that's in the same spot too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Exactly. The
was like,
exact. It was like
that's
right here.
crazy.
Like right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And
in the same spot of the vault too. It's
oh
like, and
yeah.
nowhere else in the building, but in the vault. And I was like, and
And
I think I even sent you a message, and I was like, you won't believe this, but guess
yeah, you
what?
did. And
Yeah.
there's no spider webs. That vault is immaculately clean. There's no spiders in
Yeah.
there because it's a
Yeah.
vault. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Now, before we bring on our guest tonight, let me let me play what we got. Let me play what we got first.
Okay, I guess we can go take a break.
Let's take a look at what our wonderful guests, the bench breaking broads, caught in that same area.
Recording.
All right. So basically, we both caught the same child's voice.
While we were at the old state bank, Suzanne had told us about a group that had investigated there, and she was just really bragging on them. And so that's when we reached out because we wanted to get to know them as well because they sounded so awesome. And I had checked out their YouTube and saw the child's voice that they got, and I thought that was just so cool that we had gotten a child's voice in there, and
Hmm.
they had gotten a child's voice in there. And so so we've been talking back and forth with them, and yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, one reason why Craig and I do this is because we want to just build connections in the in paranormal community, build that unity. And you only become a better investigator by you know doing things like that, like getting to know other investigators, and just and it's also just awesome finding people who share that passion for these things
Oh,
like you do.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and also for anyone watching, you on our episode 3, the Old State Bank episode, if you go to the description, I have the Bench Breaking Broads link in that description. So be sure to go and follow them as well. Subscribe to them here on YouTube. They're on Facebook and Instagram, things like that. So be sure to go and give them a follow.
Hmm.
Um, and they have a lot of really cool videos too. So please, everyone, go check them out. Um, we want you all, we appreciate the support on our channel. We also want you to support them. And
Absolutely.
um
All right. Welcome
Hey,
back. Sorry about that. Um,
that's okay.
all right. Now I'm getting back to. Okay, here we go. We're live with Sue Olson and Lisa Murray, and they are from the Bench Breaking Broads. How are y'all tonight?
We're fine. Thank you.
Good. It's good to see y'all. It's very good to see y'all. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, about your group, about how you came about your name.
We are a group of 4 women,
And they are
and
from
we
the
met over at
Bench
Old South
Breaking
Pittsburgh, in South Pittsburgh,
How are
Tennessee.
y'all tonight?
We had never been on an investigation before, so they
Good.
put
It's
us
good
in
to
a
see
group
y'all. It's
together,
very good to see
and
y'all.
we are actually down in
Tell
the
us a little bit about
basement, sitting
yourselves,
on a
about your group,
church pew
about
that
how
was in
you
the
came
basement,
about your
very
name.
close because we were scared. It was our first time, and the bench broke. And so everybody started calling us the broads that broke the bench.
Oh, nice.
So that's how you get the bench breaking broads.
Okay.
Although Lisa wasn't there at the
I'm not
time.
there. I'm just telling you, I had nothing
Okay.
to do with it.
If y'all can turn the volume on your computer down, that's playing YouTube. It's
Oh,
causing some
we
feedback
don't
there.
have the YouTube playing.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah, we don't have YouTube playing.
Oh, that's weird.
Okay.
Um, okay, so that's unusual. All right. So that's interesting. So y'all are literally the bench breaking broads.
Yep.
We are. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So y'all sent me. Tell us about your night that you had in Old State Bank.
Well, we've been there about what four
Four
or five times. So
yeah.
that's what you got is a lot of the stuff we've.
Gotten through the
Mm-hmm. All right.
the times we've been here.
Oh, nice. All right. So
So we were led to the bank through another home we do. They're relatives. That's how we started off. We were like, oh, there's a member of the Keys family. We're looking for their family, and here, so that's how we ended up at the bank in the first place. And we went in there just on a tour
yeah.
during the day, and we got communication like immediately being there. So we were intrigued to come back.
Oh, nice. That is awesome. Well, I do have some clips that y'all sent from that night that I want to talk about. The first one is a child's voice. And let's see, I will play this clip. One moment.
I think I am. I'm turning on my red light. Don't want to scare anybody by turning it on. But I'm going to come over
When I went
here.
down the steps on the second flight down, about halfway, I heard a little girl talking downstairs.
I'm
I
telling
could
you.
have swore there was a little girl
I
downstairs.
told you I heard her right there in the hallway right beside me.
Little girl, like talking to, like,
That's the first one. That should come in the group.
She came over.
Okay, tell us a little bit about what happened at, when y'all captured this voice.
Okay, we were setting our equipment out upstairs
Mhm.
in the sitting room, and Lisa had forgotten something downstairs, and she went down to get it. But as she left, I heard a child's voice in the hallway, mentioned it to Suzanne, who was with us, but we didn't do anything about it. When Lisa came back upstairs, she said there was a lady, there was
people talking
there was people
downstairs.
talking downstairs,
Huh.
and as she walks in the room and she says that, I said to Suzanne, I told you I heard a female out in the hallway. And then you can hear the child's voice that's coming from the hallway.
Right. So
And
y'all,
we all stopped and we listened. And then, of course, you have to go see if there's actually anybody in the building. And that's where you see Suzanne leaving to go
yeah.
see if there's anybody in the building.
Oh wow, that is crazy because y'all caught that child's voice twice, once in the
We
vault and
did.
once
Caught it in
upstairs.
the vault. Yes,
That
yes.
is that's amazing. That's a really good capture because as I was putting the video together, I was like, wow, that is actually a really good capture. Um, the next thing y'all sent was an experience you had with the light rope. So I'm going to play the video and then let you
Okay.
talk about it. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Thank you. Lights in the door went off at the same time.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
That's the Confederate money.
that makes me wonder if we don't have Confederate sympathy. Either that, or they could be a Yankee sympathizer that's getting rid of the Confederate money.
Room and then coming out the door on the other side. And you could watch the light rope come on in the dining room and then come out like the entity walk through a closed door and go out into the hallway. So this clip, you see the proximity sensor come on as they walk toward the door. And then right before it goes out the door, you see the motion rope lights, because they were headed out the door, you can see them actually come on. As it passes from the periscope to the motion rope lights.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. We've used rope lights before, and you can get some pretty interesting things. I like that. I like that. The next clip you sent was the periscope. Can you tell me a little bit about that before I show the clip? About what is a periscope? How do you use it?
A periscope is static electricity. So it's a little bit different than your EMFs. And we usually set it in a doorway so that we know when something's entering or exiting the doorway. The one we have several, but the one that you're seeing in the clip is the one with sound.
Okay.
So that we don't necessarily, you'll hear us say periscope a lot of times in our investigation, and we all look at it because it lets us know which way the entity's actually walking.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Well, let's take a look at this clip.
There we go, periscope. Oh, I've got it. Okay.
Oh, I bet you that was the one on the money.
They're not in any hurry, are they?
There you go.
Wow. Yeah, it's good.
Walked right through the door. That's what we got last time we were here.
Yeah, they use that door a lot last time.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is the periscope with the light going out the door. The one you showed before, sorry, we're having like a 30-second delay, so we're not really seeing.
Exactly.
So the other one before was you saw the motion rope light come on in the doorway, and then we have a proximity sensor with Confederate money sitting on the table.
And I think that's our
And
next clip is the proximity sensor.
Well, there's two of them.
There's
with-
two
Oh, yeah.
of them with
Okay,
the proximity
okay.
sensor.
All right.
One of them showed the rope light coming on and then going up to the money for the proximity sensor to go off. So you saw the rope light activate, walking over to the money. And then the other one, the proximity sensor that you're probably getting ready to show, is showing the proximity sensor and how it actually works.
Oh, okay. Okay, very cool. Okay, so let's take a look at that
That's
one.
what I would think.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there's a delay, so there's been issues.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at that one.
We have all kinds of equipment going on. So the big beeping is the proximity sensors. We got them connected to the money. And they're excited about the money. It's okay, the money can be up here. I mean, the rope lights are going on.
Rope lights are going off.
Proximity sensors are going off. This one's going off more than that one.
That thing's loud as hell.
I know, I hate those things. We had these at a place at the Walking Horse Hotel, and we had them on cigarettes. Yeah, they were on it.
Jeez.
All right.
Yeah, that one just gave you a little bit different view of the periscope and the rope lights.
Very
Or
cool.
periscope, I'm sorry, proximity
Yeah.
sensor.
Right. And you had that on basically sitting on top of Confederate money.
Yes.
Yes, we had
That
the
is-
Confederate money
We had,
attached to it.
we had both money up there, but they went for the Confederate money.
That's pretty cool because we love.
Yeah, we had
yeah.
the federal money and then we had Confederate money. So,
Right.
yeah.
We love trigger objects. So we use as many trigger objects as we possibly can in an investigation because that's gotten us so much, so much authentic interaction or what looks like authentic interaction. So we definitely love that. I believe the next one is downstairs. I believe. I have it labeled as the 8-year-old that you spoke with.
Okay, that's upstairs in the hallway.
Oh, okay. Upstairs in the hallway, in the foyer, I believe. Okay. Well, let's take a
Yes.
look at this one. All right, here we go.
Are you the 8-year-old? Hi.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. And the motion light in there went off.
The
Thank you.
rope lights.
Rope light. Thank you. Can you turn that light off? I have a question for you.
Thank you.
Did they say they were sick earlier? Or not sick? I can't remember.
I think I asked sick first and got a response.
But that was me.
It was.
Flashlights on,
Thank you.
so they were sick.
So they
Okay.
were sick.
Okay, I thought they had said they were sick earlier. Thank you. Can you turn the flashlight off, please? Oh, we found the millimeter again. And joyous. Joyous it is.
That was a lot of movement in the dining room.
Pretty light in there. I see nothing, but that was a lot of movement.
That
from the
was,
dining
yeah.
room. It was, yeah.
Like, I started to ask if it was Suzanne
And it was feet walking,
shuffling.
shuffling feet, yeah.
Mm.
Heard them.
Thank you.
All right. Now, tell us a little bit about the experiment that you did to get those results.
Okay, so we are all sitting up in the hallway, and we knew we had gotten a child's voice before because this was like our second or our third time there. And we asked if the child was there. Of course, the flashlight comes on. She was an 8-year-old little girl.
Okay.
And we asked if she was sick, and yes. And you saw the motion rope light come on, then the flashlight comes on, then she plays with the Mel meter, which was actually set up as a REM pod.
Oh, okay.
And the REM pod was sitting right there by the flashlight. So you had like all three items coming on. You had the motion lights coming on, you had the flashlight coming on, and then you had essentially a REM pod coming on too.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we use REM pod. We use all of those, and it just amazes me sometimes when that evidence is there, when it's that correlation, when it's like this triggers, then this triggers, then the next thing triggers. That's when you're like, well, that's a little more than random. So we love to see those
Correct.
results. We always love to see those results. All right, the last one
Correct.
that you sent us, I believe this one is downstairs. And
Yes, it is.
okay, so I'm going to play the clip and then let you talk about this one because this one is pretty interesting to me.
I have a question, and I don't mean to cause any pain with it. I don't mean to upset you. But is there a lady here who lost 2 sons in the war? I'm very sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. But thank you for answering. I wonder if they died in the same battle.
I can't count that.
What was your last question?
That was you, that was
Their
the
question.
same where they killed the same. Are your sons
okay.
buried in the same
I grew up in a small
cemetery?
town.
All right. So tell us a little bit about what happened there. And that was in front of the very beautiful window. I mean, window
Yes, the
mirror.
Yeah. So you know the story of the lady in black with her sons both dying in the same battle.
Hmm. Right.
And so we were trying to communicate with her is what we were trying to do. And this just shows communication that we got by a REM pod. Well, it's a millimeter set as a REM pod and flashlight. That yes, she was there. She was the lady in black. She had 2 sons that were both killed in the war. And actually, they're both buried in the same cemetery.
But
Yes,
we
but
never asked her what war
Yeah.
they were both killed in. You know, the story is it's Civil War, but
Right.
that was an American Legion. What was it?
it was an American
Legion Hall. So there's a lot of ties to all the wars at that
Right.
point.
Right.
So
True. Yeah.
we didn't think, to ask which war.
Huh.
We thought, well, when we were asking the questions, we knew that we were thinking Civil War,
Right.
but
We never asked.
we didn't ask specifically for the Civil War.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, because, being in the South and being the age of these buildings, our brains automatically go to the Civil War, but there's been many since. So that's definitely a possibility. And the number of people that live there as tenants, the number of people that that just had an affinity for that building that was there. That's really awesome. That is really, really awesome. Now, talk about the flashlight method that you used.
We it's a twist flashlight, so we set it up that it's almost on but not on, and then we ask them to turn it on for yes and leave it off for no.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes on, we ask them to turn it back off. So that's kind of how we use the flashlight method. But we usually have like a K2 underneath it. But in this building, K2s are kind of out because
Yeah.
it's high enough. And so we couldn't really use those. If you notice, there was a K2 up in the cashier's window, but it kept going off. So you
Right.
have to just throw that stuff away.
Right.
It's not good. But that's usually how we use the flashlight so that you're getting, or a motion light ball, so that you're getting more than one type of evidence with the
Right.
flashlight coming on.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure you've probably been using the flashlight method and the cat balls. We call them cat balls, the little motion balls.
Yes.
And you've probably gotten nothing.
Yes.
Correct.
You can go all night without going off one. So that
Right.
just proves to me somebody must be manipulating if it can go all night with never turning on, but then
And they're set the same way every
Right.
time.
Right,
So it's
right.
not like they're not set the same way every time.
Right. Exactly. Well, I have thoroughly completely enjoyed speaking with y'all, before the program and after the program. And hopefully, I would like to get together and maybe do a group investigation sometime. That would be pretty fun. And of course, we'll probably try to live stream it and just try to have a good time. Ashley, unfortunately, cannot hear you because of our wonderful setup here. But she wanted me to definitely express. And Ashley, can you hear me? Hold on, let me see. Okay, Ashley, let's try that one more time.
I can hear you. I just
Okay,
can't hear them.
okay. So Ashley, what did you have to say?
I just wanted to thank you both. Can y'all hear me?
I don't think they can hear you.
Okay, I just wanted
No,
to
we
thank
can't.
them for
And they can't see
taking the
us.
time to come on here, and also how much it means to us, but also like I mentioned before, just being able to connect and with
Hmm.
others who share this passion, but also um, just connect in unity over all this and compare
Right.
evidence and things like that.
All right. If you can't hear her, and I'm not sure if our audience can hear her either. But she said part of what we're doing is connecting with other groups, connecting the paranormal family that we have, and unity is very important to us. So
Yes.
we definitely, want to thank you for being here. We've thoroughly enjoyed it, and this definitely won't be the last time.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. All right. And Ashley, we are back.
All right.
All right.
So can everyone hear
I,
me now?
yeah, I believe everyone can hear you now. For some reason, your audio was, it's just been one of those
Yeah.
nights. One of those
Yeah,
nights.
and hopefully them watching me can hear. I do want to
Hmm.
apologize that I wasn't able to interact with everyone because it wasn't letting me see or hear them. I
Hmm.
could hear you, but I am definitely going to watch that back because I want to see all that was included that
Right.
they shared with us because yeah, I'm excited to watch that back and yeah.
Well, for our listeners and for our viewers, we are working on trying to get some of these kinks worked out. But the beauty of live podcasting.
Mhm.
So let's open up. If anyone watching has any questions or any comments, or also we want to invite everyone. Actually, I'll let you take this part here.
Okay,
Um,
and one thing too, when this episode of the podcast gets reposted, I'm going to link all of their social medias.
mhm.
And so I would love to encourage anyone watching to go and follow them on social media, subscribe to their channel, um, and they're on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah, be sure to check out the description in the next day or two when I get this like reposted, and all the links will be there. And yeah, and so also in the future episodes we have a segment where we will share photos and
Mhm.
videos, anything like that sent in by any viewers. That, let's say you have a photo that you've captured something that you're wondering if it's paranormal or not, and you would like for us to analyze it, be sure to send it to crashmediaparanormal@gmail.com. And it can be confidential,
Mhm.
or we can share it on air if you would like us to. So, yeah, just reach out if you have any questions, any topics of paranormal that you would like for us to discuss. Um, and also, we have a group on Facebook, and we're Crash Media Paranormal across all of our social
Right.
medias. And so we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Facebook, we also have a group. And so if you're on Facebook, be sure to request to join that group. And yeah.
And we are previewing our new shorts,
Mhm.
Spooky Tales from Across the South, in 1 minute or less.
Yeah. So if
But
you haven't checked out our shorts,
mhm,
be sure to, we have a category or playlist here on our YouTube.
mhm,
So
mhm.
let us know if you'd like, if there's a certain location you would like for us to even do a short on.
Right. And we're going to be putting one of those out a week.
Mhm.
And we're taking turns. So Ashley will do one, I'll do one, Ashley will do one, I'll do one. All right. But we thank everyone for coming, and we'll be back next week. All right. Ashley,
Yes.
have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos or want to be a part of our live investigations, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you have any ideas for future investigations or want to share your own paranormal encounters, please feel free to leave a comment